Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Maria Guadalupe García Arderes. I am happy to facilitate the following conference from the European region. Thank you to all of you to being here today. On behalf of the International Society of Pharmacovigilance, we are very pleased to welcome to all of you on the third edition of ISoP Patient Safety Day event that will be held in 2 journeys, September 7 and tomorrow, September 8. The World Health Organization established the Patient Safety Day to increase public engagement in healthcare safety and promote global actions to prevent and reduce avoidable harm in healthcare. This year, WHO is promoting medication without harm. ISoP reaffirms the objectives of the WHO Global Patient Safety Challenge and calls on the stakeholders and health professionals to prioritize and take early actions in key areas associated with significant patient harm due to unsafe medication practices, and this includes high-risk situations, transitions of cares, polypharmacy, look-alike, zone-alike medication, and other serious disruption in the provision of health services. Now, I want to invite you to participate in social media using the following hashtag: ISoP Online PSD 2022, ISoP Medication Safety, ISoP MEDER, ISoP Medication Without Harm, and World Patient Safety Day. Following the program, let me introduce the Professor Dr. Naira Romanova. She is Head of Pharmacovigilance Department at National Regulatory Authority of Armenia, and her presentation named Medication Error Challenge in Drug Safety. So, without further, please give a welcome to Dr. Naira Romanova.
Thank you, dear Guadalupe. Dear colleagues, hello everyone. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you on this very important event on Patient Safety Day organized by International Society of Pharmacovigilance. The upcoming 30 minutes, I will talk about the medication errors as a challenge to ensure drug safety. It is commonly known that in the center of every provision of healthcare, it should be the safety of the patient. Indeed, the quality health service across the world should be effective, safe, and patient-oriented. And some important components of health service are connected to medicines. And medicines can be used for diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of diseases. Please, next slide. Medicine itself, sorry, can you go to previous slide? Medicine itself are unique products, and they should have stable indicators of quality, safety, and efficacy. We should remember that medicines, in addition to their therapeutic effect, may also have undesirable effects and accordingly require special conditions for production, transportation, storage, and administration. And there is a need for professional staff to handle medicines. It is also necessary to remember that medicines itself can have a great potential for falsification. Therefore, it's necessary to strictly regulate the circulation of all medicines, starting from the development to the last day on the market. That means throughout the whole life cycle of it. Please, next. Monitoring of drug safety is an integral part of medication regulation. And for this, we have at least 3 reasons. Medicines are created to treat and prevent diseases and save lives. And accordingly, any harm, especially deaths, is not acceptable and should be prevented as far as possible. Unsafe medicines reduce public confidence in healthcare system in general and cause financial losses for the country. And information obtained during clinical trials before registration is not always complete and sufficient. So if you go to the next slide, we can see the life cycle of the medicine. Here we can see the how long way the medicine is passing before getting into the market. Yes, in reality, medicinal product undergoes a long way. There starts the idea, the identification of the molecule, then goes forward for preclinical testing to determine whether it is safe to progress to using people. And this means the preclinical studies conducted in animals to determine toxicity, teratogenicity, mutagenicity. And after successful completion of preclinical studies, it starts clinical studies by phases. clinical trials start with a small trial in healthy volunteers. This is phase 1, before going into the increasingly large trial in phase 2 and phase 3, which are often multicentral trials involving sometimes thousands of patients, and having the objective to find out if the new medicine is safe and effective. And the information obtained during these trials, preclinical and clinical trials, together with the manufacturing process information, is compiled and submitted for the marketing authorization in order to demonstrate the safety and efficacy of medicine. And after that, the medicine becomes available for the patients. So once medicine has been granted a marketing authorization and is circulating in the market, there starts a strict monitoring designed to detect any potential safety and quality issues. And this process is known as pharmacovigilance. And here we can ask a question: why do we need to monitor the safety of the medicine if it costs such a long studies? So next slide please. Even after having completed rigorous pre-marketing trials, there are limitations of the studies. Less common and rare, but sometimes serious adverse reactions are statistically unlikely to have been detected because of the limited number of participants during the clinical trials. And pre-marketing studies of drug may exclude certain groups of patients, such as children, elder population, pregnant women. Although in real life, in practice, the drug may be prescribed for the patient from those groups. For example, a clinical trial may have included patients from 18 to 60 years old. However, the drug may be prescribed to elder patients, and we all know that the elders are a population who are more sensitive to adverse reactions due to several reasons, including differences in metabolism compared with the younger population. Yes, and also we have to consider about the polypharmacy, which is common in elder population. Additionally, clinical trials may exclude subjects with comorbidities. And this could be people with failed renal function or cardiac impairments, immunodeficiency, and other anomalies. Those conditions may put such patients in a high risk of adverse drug reactions and may eventually lead to the medicine being contraindicated or require close monitoring when used. So polypharmacy, another big issue, which may not have been possible to adequately address during pre-marketing studies. So there could have been some drugs interactions studies, including drug-drug or drug-food interactions, but information is likely to be limited, and patients taking several classes of concomitant medicines may have been excluded from the study programs. So while such patients can be prescribed medicines, yes, this is mainly most reasons that why we should closely monitor the safety of the medicinal products after the marketing authorization, when it is become available and widely used. So next slide, please. So taking into account all above mentioned, there is no doubt that pharmacovigilance is an important part of ensuring safety for the patients. And World Health Organization defines pharmacovigilance as a science and activities relating to detection, assessment, understanding, prevention of adverse events or any medicine-related problem. In line with the general definition, the underlying objectives of pharmacovigilance are preventing harm from adverse reactions in humans arising from the use of authorized medicinal products, promoting the safe and effective use of medicinal products, in particular through providing timely information about the safety of medicinal products to patients, healthcare professionals, and public as a whole. So pharmacovigilance, therefore, an activity contributing to the protection of patient and public health. Next, please. We all know that an adverse reaction is a response to medicinal product which is noxious and unintended. So this includes reactions which arise from use of a medicinal product with the terms of marketing authorization, use outside the terms of marketing authorization, including overdose, abuse, and medication errors. Also, occupational exposure. So this means that one of the main activities of pharmacovigilance is detection, assessment, understanding, and as far as possible, prevention of medication errors, which sometimes can be a real challenge in medicine safety. Next, please. So, what is a medication error? There is no consensus about the definition of medication error, and systematic literature review found 26 different terminologies for medication error. I bring here the definition of United States National Coordinating Council for Medication Error Reporting and Prevention. And here it defines as any preventable event that may cause or lead to inappropriate medication use or patient harm while the medication is in the control of healthcare professional, patient, or customer. Such events may be related to professional practice, healthcare products, procedures, and systems, including prescribing, order communication, product labeling, packaging, and nomenclature, compounding, dispensing, distribution, administration, education, monitoring, and use. So next, please, a medication error can cause some harm to the person taking the medicine. Errors can happen when a medication is prescribed improperly, is prepared or dispensed improperly, or when a patient takes a medication incorrectly. So all those cases we call medication errors. Medication error can involve prescription drugs, over-the-counter drugs, vitamins, and even food supplements. If we try to define the types of errors, we can differentiate the following. Prescribing error. This is, for example, when patient is prescribed inappropriate starting dose of medicine. Omission error, failure to prescribe, administer, or dispense a medicine. Wrong timing, sometimes a patient can receive medication too late or can take it too early. Unauthorized drugs, patients receiving medicines which are not authorized for them for their condition. Inappropriate use of medicine, this includes taking a medication in a manner or dose other than prescribed. We know that sometimes patients at home can mix how to use the medicine. Wrong dose or prescription or preparation and administration error. This includes an incorrect route of administration, giving the drug to the wrong patient, extra dose, etc. And monitoring errors, such as failing to take into account patient's liver condition, renal function, or maybe failing to document the allergy or potential for drug interactions. So those are the main types which can cause medication errors. And I missed one. This is the compliance errors, such as not following the protocols or rules established for dispensing and prescribing medications. So mistakes in prescribing, dispensing, storing, preparation, and administration of a medicine are the most common preventable causes of unintended events in medication practice, and of course present a major public health problem. So estimate shows, next please, that in developed countries, 1 in 10 patients is harmed while receiving hospital care. The harm can be caused by a range of errors or adverse events. Studies show that additional hospitalization, litigation costs, infection acquired in hospital, lost income, disability, and medical expenses have cost some countries between $6 billion to $29 billion per year. This is a huge amount, yes? And let us talk about statistics from different countries which have rather good medication error reporting systems. Next, please, is about the US statistics. The FDA receives more than 100,000 reports every year that are related to medication errors. And those errors can occur in hospitals, in pharmacies, or at home with the patient. And according to the statistics, 1 in 5 Americans has experienced a medical error while receiving health care. Dosage error are the most common type of medication administration errors. And in the United States, 7 to 9 people die each year due to the medication error. When it comes to Europe statistic, which is in the next slide, 23% of Europeans state that they have been directly affected by a medication error, personally or in the family. In Europe, 7.5% of medication errors occur at the prescription stage, while in hospitals, medication errors represent 18.7 to 56% of all adverse drug events among patients. And the annual cost of medication error is estimated between 4.5 billion to 21.8 billion euros. And the next statistic is about UK, which is a country that is active in implementing medication error reporting and learning system. It is in the next slide. You can say that estimate shows that 237 million medication errors occur at some point in the process of medication in the United Kingdom, and 66 million are potentially clinically significant. This is a huge amount. And the figures illustrate that prescribing in primary care accounts for 34% of all potentially clinical significant errors. Avoidable adverse drug events are estimated to cost the national health system about £98 million per year. So after the statistic, definitely the burden of medication error on health system and on patient itself can sometimes be rather significant. Yes, and we not even talking about the emotional and physical condition burden for the patient. So what we need to do, we have to consider about the reducing the medication errors. And the reduction medication-related harm requires a clear understanding of where and when the error occurs. A number of studies have examined the factors associated with medication errors. And some studies found that factors associated with the healthcare professionals could cause the medication errors, which can be the lack of therapeutic training, inadequate drug knowledge and experience, inadequate prescription of perception of risks, overworked or fatigued healthcare professional, physical and emotional health issues, and poor communication between the healthcare professional and the patient. Some factors can be associated with the patient. This is in the next slide. And medication error can be caused in connection with a patient characteristic, personality, language barrier, and complexity of clinical case, including multiple health conditions, and also the polypharmacy and high-risk medications. And beside the healthcare professional and patient related errors, there can be factors associated with the medicine, such as naming of the medicine. This is called the sound-like medicines, which can be easily mixed by the patient or pharmacist in the pharmacy, yes, and also labeling and packaging issues. This is called the look-like medication errors, yes, look-like medicines. When a manufacturer produces a medicine, two different medicines with two different INN, but the packages look like. So there are a lot of factors, but those are the main factors which are met in the life. So other reasons for causing medication errors could be, please, next slide, verbal communication. Yes, sometimes it can happen in the countries when healthcare professional can just verbally communicate with the patient, and or patient can verbally communicate with the pharmacist without bringing the without writing or bringing with him the prescription. That will cause a big problem because it is very easy to mix up the naming of the medicine. Also, medication error can be caused because of the poor handwriting, and also while prescribing or dispensing medicines, we should always consider the issues of polypharmacy or drug interaction, and also one can be a causes hectic work environment of the healthcare professional or pharmacist. This is the conditions we have always to consider in order to avoid medication errors. Next, please. Let's see an example of medication error incident from the literature. This is a prescription error case when a 70-year-old male patient who weighing 60 kilograms was prescribed slow-release oral morphine tablets, 60 milligrams twice a day for arthritic pain. He had not been taking any opioid medicine, and his previous analgesia medicine was oral tramadol tablets. So 15 milligrams 3 times a day. After taking four doses of the oral morphine, the patient was confused, hallucinating, and feeling drowsy. He was admitted to hospital, and where he remained for 6 days after receiving naloxone. This is a case of inappropriate starting dose of morphine tablets. You can see it brings a financial burden, it brought emotional burden for the patients, and studies show that all doctors, both joint doctors and experienced senior doctors, commit prescription error, and the mean error rates can be as high as about 9 cases per 100 medication error. So another example of medication error from literature is about dispensing error. A 65-year-old female patient with a history of obstructive airway disease was prescribed an oral penicillin product and prednisolone 40 milligrams daily for 7 days. The community pharmacist misselected a 28-day patient propranolol 40 milligrams tablet instead of prednisolone 5 milligram tablets, and labeled the propranolol with a dispensing label with instruction to take 8 tablets daily. The manufacturer supplied both the prednisolone and propranolol tablets. Packs and the labeling and packaging were similar. The patient took the first dose, and soon afterward he experienced difficulty breathing, became hypotensive, and lost consciousness. She was admitted to the hospital and subsequently she died in the hospital. This is a bright example of a medication error caused by the look-like medicines, which can be easily mixed while dispensing. So next, please, the most important knowledge in the field of patient safety is how to prevent harm to patient during treatment and care. The fundamental role of patient safety reporting system is enhance the patient safety by learning from failures of the healthcare system. Although each event is unique and there are likely to be similarities, detecting medication error needs collaboration between various organizations on local level, on national and international level, and such organizations can be patient safety institutions, pharmacovigilance centers, poison control centers, a World Health Organization, patients, hospitals, etc. And what is the role of pharmacovigilance center? Next, please. Pharmacovigilance center have been concerned with minimizing the risk of adverse reactions over the past 40 years. And pharmacovigilance has had an increasing focus on detecting and preventing medication errors. It is possible to detect medication errors from within the individual case safety reports that are received by national pharmacovigilance system. The duties of pharmacovigilance center for the perspective of minimizing risks from the medication error includes alerting healthcare professionals, in the importance of reporting such as errors, identifying and making them aware of the factors that cause them, encouraging to develop a safety culture that leads to enhanced awareness and, of course, stressing the need of reporting, of communicating among healthcare professionals in preventing medicational errors and improving patient care. Some of the adverse drug reactions reported to the pharmacovigilance centers are in fact due to the medication errors. It has been estimated that 10 to 18% of all adverse drug reactions may be preventable. So the pharmacovigilance centers develop their tools and their skills to identify medication errors from adverse drug reactions, which are reported, and to investigate the preventability of cases. Currently, two aspects of pharmacovigilance could be enhanced to address those objectives. One is the reporting from individual case safety reports, and another is a tool for assessing the preventability of adverse drug reactions. So under the aegis of the monitoring medicine projects, a method has been developed which relies on preventability criteria and is therefore named the P method. This method is used to systematically detect medication errors in ICSRs sent to pharmacovigilance centers. The method can be applied to the reported events once a reasonable link between the event and the suspected drug has been validated by causality assessment. So reporting is fundamental to detecting patient safety problems. Although regulators assess the potential risk of medication errors before marketing authorization and before the approval, however, medication error may still occur after a medicine is authorized and used. Patients and healthcare professionals should report any errors they experience to prevent further ones. And timely reporting allows regulatory authority to implement the risk minimization measures at an early stage as necessary. So next, please. Reducing medication error and improving medication safety requires a systematic approach. It is essential to consider steps such as educating healthcare professionals and providers, also patients, concerning the medication errors and medication use itself, implementing medication reviews and reconciliation, using computerized system and prioritizing area of liquid. All levels of the medication delivery process would require strategies to prevent these errors. Each country should develop a strategy for medication error reporting and learning to promote the evidence-based policies. Prevention strategies include, among others, 3 complementary actions. Those should be main actions. It is a preventing medication error, making them visible, mitigating the effects when the error is occurred. So these are the steps which the countries need to consider. And in conclusion, I would like to highlight several points. Countries and regions differ, and strategy that works well in one area may not transfer well to another. So in order to improve the safety of patients, we need to set the local priorities, take a wider system approach to improve safety, communicate the importance of safety within the healthcare professionals, focus on building a positive safety culture, to report the medication errors, and to report adverse drug reactions in which we can find medication errors. Strengthen ways of measuring and monitoring patient safety, strengthen the use of electronic tools, involve patients and family members in the monitoring of safety of the medicines, and focus on those at higher risk of safety incidents. And of course, at the end, celebrate the success, and very important to share the learning with others. So this was all by my side. I wanted to present for today. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Naira Romanova. It was really, really interesting. I have 2 questions for you. In this case, you mentioned the need of medicine regulation. So can you reinforce how we can work on that?
If I understand right your question, you mean how can we support to prevent medication errors within the regulation of medicine?
Yes.
So, okay, thank you very much for your question. As I mentioned, the medicine is a unique product and should be regulated strictly because of several reasons. And the regulatory authorities conduct a set of activities to regulate medicines. That can be registration of the product, clinical trial control, can be the licensing of the manufacturing areas, yes, and the very important component is the safety monitoring of medicines. And within this scope of the works of medicine safety monitoring, which is a pharmacovigilance, national pharmacovigilance centers provide activities, they conduct activities in order to detect medication errors and to identify medication errors from the adverse drug reactions reports, and of course highlight these errors and provide solutions how to avoid those medication errors in practice and communicate those information with the healthcare professionals. This is the main area of work where the regulation can support preventing, identifying. Very important in order to have a culture of reporting of adverse drug reactions. Regulatory authorities need to also provide information for public, for healthcare professionals, and communicate them in order to.
Okay, thank you. And I have another one. You mentioned or you talk about the different types, the cause of the different types of medication errors, the cost of medication errors, and the cost of medication errors. So how can we work in social media with patients, caregivers, and HCP in order to reduce this?
In order to reduce, you are completely right. Thank you, dear Guadalupe. The medication errors cause a big burden, financial, and not only financial, unfortunately, also emotional burden for patients. Yes, and in order to reduce this, statistics shows that these medication errors can be prevented. They are mostly preventable if we timely communicate about the risks of medication errors, about the causes, and provide education in order to make the use of medicine correctly. Yes. So, of course, nowadays the media is a very good tool for communicating with public, with patients, how to use medicines correctly, or how to use medicine according to the instructions, not to use medicine which are not prescribed for them. Yes, this is very also important. And also the communication can be done for healthcare professionals. There are a lot of media specific areas for healthcare professionals, yes, for professional public. There also can be communicating issues about the prescription, about the dispensing, about the administration of medicines. So in the roots of preventing medication error, there is the education, is the communication. So we all, the countries, we need all to work on this direction to try not to identify and then prevent, just to try to be proactive and prevent medication errors.
You're absolutely right. Thank you so much, Dr. Naira Romanova. It was a pleasure for us to be here. And well, I invite the rest of attendees to keep online and be with us in the rest of the seasons. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, dear Guadalupe. It was my pleasure to be here. Have a nice day.